You are listening to the Courageously Unconventional podcast. If you want to change your life and start living on your own terms, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Lynn Grogan. I'm a certified life coach, and I want to help you take action toward creating your own unconventional life. Each week, I'll share inspiring and unconventional stories from those who have gone before you, as well as actionable steps you can take to start your own unconventional path today. Let's go! Hey everybody, welcome back to the Courageously Unconventional podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Grogan, and today we're going to talk about putting yourself out there to make new friends. So a few months ago, I did a podcast episode with Dr. Wong called How to Live Vibrantly to 100, and she talked about the importance of having social ties and maintaining friendships as we age. So building and maintaining connections, she says, is one of the most important factors in healthy aging. But let's be real, like making friends and staying connected can be challenging for a lot of people, myself included. And, this episode actually feels really timely to me. So my husband and I met on this very day, the day this episode airs, exactly 9 years ago. So we fell in love and we started spending nearly all of our time together. And at the time, I was already traveling solo in my RV, and I convinced him to join me in this nomadic lifestyle. It was such a dream come true for me. I had wanted to meet someone like him for a very long time. But as we started traveling together, we did not make new friends for another 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. It was just him, me, and our dogs. And sure, we met people along the way, but it wasn't anybody that we kept in touch with after the first encounter. And in most situations, we didn't even get somebody's name. So I'll admit it was lonely at times. We lived just the two of us in our RV, so we didn't even have a community of people or work to go to get away from each other. And it put a lot of pressure on our relationship to be each other's main source of companionship. So over the past 2 years, since I think about early 2023, we have intentionally worked on making new friends. And man, it has made all the difference. We now have a great circle of friends, some of whom you've actually heard right here on the podcast. So as I've reflected on how we have created these connections, I have realized that we've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and I wanted to share that with you in case you're in the same boat as us, like you're wanting to make new friends. So here are 5 ideas for meeting new friends and how to maintain those connections. Number 1, attend events designed for making friends. So a common piece of advice for making friends is to just simply attend events and gatherings related to your hobbies or interests. I think this is good advice, but I would suggest taking this one step further. Specifically look for events or volunteer opportunities where the organizers highlight making friends as one of the key benefits of attending. Because that means that it's just much more likely that there's going to be other people at the event who are also open to making new friendships. So here's how that approach has helped us. 2 years ago, like I said, we started working on this 2 years ago, my husband and I attended an event called the Escapers Bash. It's an event for working age RVers. And one of its main features is the opportunity to meet people who are like us. The organizers going into it explicitly say that you should leave your RV, attend events, and introduce yourself to people. You wouldn't think that they needed to spell that out, but they do. And I'll admit it was good advice because the first year we went, we didn't really follow that all that well. We were feeling really shy. It had been so long since we had met new people and made friends, and we barely left our RV. And unsurprisingly, we didn't meet a huge number of people. But luckily, we did connect with a few of our neighbors, Jesse and Melissa and Kristen and Jameson, who just, embraced our social awkwardness. I think we even admitted to them at one point that we didn't have very many friends and would love to meet new people. And they helped to introduce us to who are now some of our favorite RV friends. So in my experience, like I said, events where organizers focus on fostering relationships are much more likely to have activities or guidelines or suggestions that encourage meeting new people. So you can find these events in lots of places. I've used meetup.com. I've looked through Facebook events. I've searched local event pages. If you just search wherever you live plus events, you can usually find an event page. You can also look up hobbies you enjoy and see if there's something relevant nearby. All right, number 2, you might have to just be a little vulnerable. So here's another story. I recently attended Startup Week in Durango, Colorado, where we're currently traveling and staying. I didn't know anybody. The idea of walking into large groups and talking to people, like the thought of that just makes me so nervous. It's just me. I know a lot of other people are like this too. But I often feel more comfortable going to these types of events when there's a clear purpose for attending, like if it's a workshop or something. In this event, everybody was there to talk about their businesses. And at the start of the event, a woman named Katie gave a talk that just transformed my experience. She shared a story about the night before the conference started where she attended a networking event without knowing anyone. And she started to tell herself, hey, it's okay if I leave early. I have to speak the next morning. There's going to be so much time to meet people this week. Oh man, I do this all the time too. Like I justify why I should leave uncomfortable situations. But then she reminded herself that the point of being there was to embrace discomfort. So instead of leaving, she walked over to a small group and said, hi, I'm Katie. I don't know many people here. Can I join your conversation? It was just so simple and beautiful. Hey, I'm Katie. I don't know anybody here. Can I join your conversation? And unsurprisingly, she said they welcomed her right in. And that one sentence resonated with everyone I met at the event. We all talked about how her willingness to be vulnerable and share that with us and ask for what she needed helped the rest of us open up too. And for the rest of the event, I just pretended like somebody had said that line to me, like, hi, I don't know anybody. Can I join you? When there was an open seat next to me, I would wave somebody over to sit in it. And I always greeted the people around me and included them in conversations. These are things I wouldn't normally do in a setting where I don't know many people, but Katie's vulnerability gave me the courage to step out of my comfort zone, and I actually made a few friends at that event. Number 3, ask for someone's contact information. Okay, so late last year, I witnessed what at the time felt like the craziest thing. So my husband and I attended a music jam with our friend David Delaney, who you have heard on this podcast a few weeks ago. And at the end of the jam, David just casually went up to a few people he enjoyed playing with and said something like, hey, can I get your phone number so we can play music again? And I have seen him do this at least a dozen times over the past year. Another time we met a couple who seemed cool. And at the end of the conversation, David said it again, it'd be fun to hang out. Can I get your number? In situations like that, if it were me, I would usually be thinking, well, they were cool, but hopefully I'll see them again. Like maybe if we meet again, it's fate that we should be friends. But no, if David likes someone, he just asked for their contact information. Like we can all do that too. And sure, sometimes like people seem a little bit surprised to be asked for their numbers, but they always seem to say yes. And then he would follow up. Unsurprisingly, David has a lot of people to hang out with, all because he asked. And I have actually tried this a few times now. And while it has been uncomfortable for me, because in the past I would tell myself it's just too forward, or again, we should just see if we magically meet up again. But I have been pleasantly surprised how often people are just open to reconnecting and staying connected. All right, number 4, schedule regular follow-ups. So this is one of my favorite stories from the past few years. And it goes back to childhood. So when I was in the 4th or 5th grade, I had this friend I absolutely adored named Sarah. If you are listening, Sarah, hello. We were in Girl Scouts together, and we used to hang out and write stories about princesses. We just had so much fun. But then Sarah moved away, and we lost contact for over 30 years. Fast forward to a few years ago, and Sarah suddenly showed up in a program where I was coaching, and we recognized each other after all that time. It was just such a wild experience. So then, after a few weeks, Sarah invited me to catch up on a phone call. What she doesn't know is that I was super nervous for that call. Like, what if we didn't have anything in common anymore? What if I came off as weird? I probably did. But the call went really well. And at the end, she said, I would love to talk to you again. Can we set up another call in about a month? And right then, on the end of the call, we scheduled our very next phone call. And we have been doing that for over 2 years now. We talk monthly. I've started doing this with another friend as well. We schedule our next conversation before we hang up. It has helped us stay connected and maintain a regular rhythm in our friendship, even though we only see each other in person every few years or so. If you want to stay regularly connected to people, you just have to ask and be explicit about when you'll connect again. And finally, number 5, you might have to organize friend events yourself. So this last idea comes from one of my coaching clients, and I think it is so cool that she does this. So she regularly organizes girls' nights out and walking clubs. When she moved to the city she lives in, she moved there, I think, several years ago, she knew she wanted to build a circle of friends, so she took the initiative to create the kind of gatherings she wanted to be a part of. And since she was basically starting from scratch, she had to be brave and put herself out there. And slowly but surely, her groups have gained traction and they are now regularly attended. As someone who has organized events over the years and I've coached people who have done the same, it is easy to get in your head with worries like, what if no one shows up? What if nobody thinks it's fun? What if people don't have much to say to each other? And all of these doubts are natural, but they shouldn't stop you from trying. I know not everyone loves to plan events, but if you're not seeing ways to make the friends you want, this can be a way to go. I know it has certainly worked for my client. So to recap, here are the 5 things I mentioned. Number 1, attend events designed for making friends. Number 2, you might have to be a little vulnerable and tell people that you are looking to make friends. Number 3, ask for contact information. Number 4, schedule regular follow-ups to keep the relationship going. And number 5, organize friend events yourself. If you're anything like me, many of these activities might be outside of your comfort zone. And that makes sense. Like, you would be doing something that can seem risky when you think about them. But the payoff includes a lot of benefits. According to the Mayo Clinic, adults with strong social connections have a reduced risk for many significant health problems. And studies have found that older adults who have meaningful relationships and social support are likely to live longer than their peers with fewer connections. So like I said, it is worth it. All right, my friend, that is what I have for you today. If you're curious about life coaching and you want to experience it for yourself, sign up for a free one-on-one private coaching session with me at lingrogan.com or click the link in the show notes. Your first session is absolutely free. So thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or a potential friend who might find it helpful. Until next time. Hey friend, thank you for listening to today's conversation. If you're considering a major career or lifestyle change and you want to talk to someone about this, I'm here for you. You can learn how to work with me one-on-one on my website, which is lingrogan.com, and I also have details in the show notes. See you next time.